We'll go the start button here, wherein we are going to start mmc.exe. We can run this Microsoft Management Console program as an administrator. Let's run it as an administrator. To run the program, we have executed this program as an administrator, and now we are provided with a console root. So let me just quickly give you an overview of the tool. At the top you have a menu bar from where you can perform various actions like loading the snap-ins, understanding the snap-ins, and you can do these with this Control M option here. Then whatever snap-ins you will be using will be available in the console root section. Whatever configurations you want to perform will be available here, and the actions will be available on the right hand side. We are going to load an add-in, so let's go to add remove snap-in. On this add remove snap-in, you can see that we have multiple snap-ins available, and if I give you a quick overview, let's say you can see that you have ActiveX control, you have authorization managers, certificates can be managed from here, we have component services, computer management section is here, then we have device manager can be managed from here, you have disk management, event viewers, your folder properties, your group policy object editor, IP security policy management, link to web addresses, local users and groups, NAP client configuration, performance monitor, print management, resultant set of policy. There are many things here. We have security configurations, we have random security templates available as well. We can interact with services, we can interact with shared folders, we can schedule tasks, we have the trusted platform module management as well. So this is TPM management actually works at the motherboard level. You can, what exactly TPM is, you can keep your encryption keys into this trusted platform module. This is like a chip which is available on a motherboard. Only those applications will execute on the system whose encryption keys are available with the TPM. So execution of virus on the motherboards which has this TPM facility available, the virus won't execute there. Okay, so it's like very important phenomena. You can understand this concept in little more detail, and a lot of people do research on this trusted platform module. We have also done a research project on this, so we can refer you about that project and you can understand more information about your trusted platform module. Then you can manage Windows firewall from here. We have Windows management instrumentation control from here. It gives you information about the complete system. Okay, so we are going to make use of the facilities which are available here. First of all, we like to get started with some security policies and some event viewing which is available in our module. So let's say one snap-in I would like to add is event viewer. Okay, I'm going to add this event viewer. So I'm going to add the event viewer for this local computer. In case if I want to get that from another computer, we can connect over the network and we can get their information as well. So let's click on OK. So event viewer for local machine has been added. Now I would like to understand local users and group policies. So I'm going to add this also for the local computer. Then we can go a little down and you can see that we have some security templates as well available, but we will be creating security templates a little later. Now what next we need to do? So we are going to perform analysis over these event viewer and local user policies at the moment. In case if you want to remove any of these extensions or you want to move up any of this, you can do that. Let's say if I selected this, I can interact with this interface and I can change. Okay, now what next we need to do? Let's click on OK. So as soon as we click OK, we'll get all the policies here. First of all, we are going to understand policies for our local users and groups. So as soon as we open this, we have policies for users and for groups. Okay, so here what we have is, you can see that we have multiple users available here like ABCDE, administrator, Devanshu, guest and home group. These are some of the users which are available. In case if you want to understand what all actions you can perform with this user, you can create a new user, you can view users, and you can do some export as well from here. Okay, so let's say if I double click here, you can see that I can disable the account. I can say that password will never expire for this account. User cannot change the password. We can set these policies. Okay, we can go to member of. So this particular group is a member of home users. For profile, we don't have a profile at the moment. So these two options are enough for you to understand. Let's say at the moment I've logged into my Devanshu account. So let's say I'm going to double click on Devanshu account, and you can see that if I want to change the name and description, I can do that. Let's say by chance if I want to set this property, something like user cannot change the password, I would like to do something like this. I will simply click on apply and I'll click on OK. Okay, so I've set this property, and now I would like to simply test whether I can do that or not. So I'm going to open command prompt, cmd.exe. I'm going to run it as an administrator using Control Shift Enter. As soon as I have executed this, I'm an administrator at the moment, but I wanted to test that for my Devanshu account. So by chance I have, if I check who am I, so this is user Devanshu, that's an administrator as well. So now what I would like to do, I would like to simply try to change the password net user Devanshu, and let's say I would like to change it to ABCDE. So since I have administrator privileges, the password got changed, but let me just try with the local privileges. Since we have loaded the local account, let's just press enter. So we are into Devanshu at the moment. I have again executed who am I. At this moment I am with limited privileges for the local user, and now if I try to change the password for Devanshu ABCDE, you can see that we cannot do that now. So in case if you have a local user and the local user has a password set, and if you want to deny changes to the password, you can set that property. Okay, now what next we can do, let's say we have just closed this section here. Now I'll go to the administrator as well, and let's say if I say I would not like to change the password for this, let's say apply. Okay, so both the accounts I have set. Okay, let's just try that again if this policy works. So what we'll do, we'll just try to execute net user Devanshu ABCDE. So with administrator privileges you'll be able to do that, but if you are a limited user you won't be able to change the password from there. Okay, so now we'll understand more things in more details. So management of privileges and policies is very important. Now let's just come to the next point. Here we have just quickly set some basic properties, and as soon as we restart this machine, then the changes will be reflected. Okay, so at the moment let me just get back to the default. I've just removed this. I've gone to this user. I'm going to change that, and I have set it to default. Now I would like to add one more snap-in here, which is like a very important snap-in. So let's go to File, Add Remove Snap-in, and the snap-in which I'm going to add this time has more policies. Okay, so you can manage your policies from here, and the name of this is Group Policy Object Editor. Okay, let's add this. So for the local computer we are loading, we have got the local computer policy. We want to move it up. Let's click on OK. So now we have a local computer policy here, and this is important. Okay, so this was just information about users in groups, but now what we have is we can manage the properties of these users and groups using local computer policy. In this local computer policy we have two configurations. Either you can configure the computer or you can configure the user. Okay, once you configure for a computer, the changes will be reflected in all the accounts, and if you are doing that for user, the changes will be reflected on the current active account. Let's say if I'm into computer configuration, and let's say in software settings we don't have much information, but in Windows settings you can see that we have some things like we can change the name resolution policy. Okay, We can go to scripts for startup and shutdown. We can access deployed printers here, and we can perform security testing, security settings. So let's say if I open security setting, this is important for you, security settings, okay? So from here you can manage the security of your operating system for your local computer. So once we has opened this, now you can see that within security settings we have account policies, okay? In this account policy, you have password policies and account lockout policies, okay? Let's say if I'm going to account policy, you can see that we can enforce the password history and we are not remembering any password at the moment. Maximum password age is 42 days. That means after 42 days, my password will expire, okay? Minimum password age is for 0 days. Minimum password length is 0 characters. We have not set any length at the moment, but we can set the length so that in case if somebody tries to change the password and he does not meet the length criteria, the password won't be changed, okay? Then you can meet the complexity requirements as well. Say in case if you want to configure your machine and you want to say that a complex password with a combination of alphabet, numerals and symbols is to be set, then you can configure this policy. You can store passwords using reversible encryption, and that has to be set disabled by default. Reversible encryption stands for you can keep your passwords in plain text in computer, okay? So but that's a security risk because people may be able to extract the passwords, so we avoid such cases. Now what we'll do in the password policy, let's say I would like to configure some password policies. So first of all, I'm going to enable the property for my complexity settings. I've enabled the property, and if you want to see an explanation, you can see that if this policy is enabled, then your password should be at least 6 characters in length. It should have English uppercase, English lowercase characters, base 10 digits characters and non-alphabetic characters as well. So this is like a complexity. It is enabled on domain controllers by default, but it is disabled on standalone servers by default. So in case if you're configuring a standalone server, then you have to enable the policies. Clear? Let's click on apply. Let's click on OK. So I have enabled this complexity. Now if I open my command prompt and if I run it as an administrator, and now if I try to change the password for my user Devanshu ABCDE, so this time he says the password does not meet the password policy requirements because you have to set a complex password, okay? Let's say by any chance if I say something like net user Devanshu, I have used lowercase, uppercase, numeral and symbol, but I did not meet the length criteria, okay? The password policy can be bypassed because you can see that here it asks for minimum 3 configurations. In the explanation you can see that user's account, here what we have is, let me just tell you, you have 6 characters in length. Characters contain characters from 3 of the following 4 categories. इनमें से किसी भी 3 में से एक भी अगर कंडीशन वैलिड हो रही है तो पासवर्ड आपका चेंज नहीं होगा. यानी 3 ऑफ द फॉलोइंग 4 कैटेगरीज में से अगर आप चारों डाल देते हैं तो आपकी वो कॉम्बिनेशन पास हो जाती है, ठीक है, 6 कैरेक्टर लेंथ वाली. सो आपको यहाँ पे फिर एक और पासवर्ड पॉलिसी सेट करनी पड़ेगी अपने नंबर ऑफ कैरेक्टर्स की, जिसके थ्रू फिर आप इन दोनों को पैरेलली इनेबल रख सकते हैं, ठीक है. सो नाउ लेट्स से इफ वी क्लिक ओके एंड लेट्स से इफ at the moment if I want to change the password to ABCD, I cannot do that. If I change the password to A1 A something something something, I won't be able to do that because the password policy does not meet. We have to handle at least 3 of the 3 category combination. So it should be uppercase, lowercase or a numeral, or it could be a symbol as well. Okay. Now what next I will do, let's say I cannot execute this policy, I cannot set my password now. So we'll just quickly go back to the policy here and we are going to set a minimum password length. So we'll do it, and here you can see that the maximum password length could be 15 characters, 0 to 14. Okay, 14 characters. So if you type in a password of 15 characters, the policy will be bypassed. Okay, so let's say if I set a policy of 10 characters and I applied that, I did that, okay, and I started my command prompt with an administrator again, and if I want to execute net user Devanshu A1 A this, so this time I cannot change the password because now the password policy length has been specified. So now he'll follow that at least 10 characters should be available in your password, and it should has this. Okay, so in case if a new beginner or someone tries to change your password and he does not understand the policy requirements, then he won't be able to change your passwords, because sometimes what happens is, in case if somebody has got your shell, he can change the password using net user command. So it's a good idea that you can secure your passwords. Sometimes people they can just put in a DVD and they just try to change the password, something like ABCD or 1 2 3 4 5, and in case if you have a password policy set, then the passwords won't be changed. Okay, so it's like a security setting which is required. So now then you can set a minimum password age as well, you can set the maximum password age, and you can enforce the password history as well. Okay, so now let me just change it to 0 characters again. I'm just setting it to the default configuration, and I'm disabling it at the moment, and I'm going to set my default password again back to ABCDE. Okay, so now you can see that the password has been changed. So you can manage your policies from here. Now what next you can do is, you can go to account lockout policies. In account lockout policies, you can specify duration for how many minutes your account will be locked in case if somebody tried to attempt bad passwords on your machine. Then you can put the threshold, which will let you know how many invalid logon attempts you can set, and then you can go to reset account lockout counter. Okay, so now let's say I would like to set an account duration to somewhat like, we can set this from 0 minutes to 99999 minutes. Okay, clear? So this is the maximum value for how long you can keep your account locked if in case somebody is trying to crack your password. So now let's say if I did something like, but before setting this policy you have to set your account lockout threshold first. Okay, so let's say if I set the threshold that after 3 bad attempts I'm going to lock my machine. So he is saying account lockout duration should be 30 minutes and reset account counter after 30 minutes. So that will be like a little more time. So I would like to change the policies. Okay, let's say for 3 logon attempts, click OK, and now the policy is set for 30 minutes. I would like to change the policy for, let's say, 1 minute or 2 minutes. Okay, and this property will also be set to 2 minutes. Now, so we have got a policy set. Now in case if somebody tries to execute our password, so what we can do is, let's just lock the window here, and now what we'll do, let's say if I try to execute a bad password and I press enter, password 1, if I did 2, then if I did 3, then if I did 4, and now you can see that the reference account is currently logged and may not be logged onto. Okay, so now even if you try the correct password ABCDE, he won't allow you into the account. So you have set a lockout policy for your account. Okay, so now we need to wait for 2 minutes so that we can just get back to the account, and by the time I would like to save my video. So here you can see that it's already displaying that the account is locked. Let me just try the password. We are logged still. We have to wait for 2 minutes. Let's just try that again. So now, after 2 minutes, we're logged into the account. So is that clear? So here, you can see that you can set the invalid attempt properties and you can lock out your accounts. So I hope you understand this. Now, let me just reset the values to default. Okay, so you can simply reset your account lockout policy by specifying 0 here. So once you understood the account policies, you can manage your accounts here. Then you can go to some more local policies. Let's say in the local policy, we have some audit policies. These audit policies will be what all events you want to log. Okay, so you can audit account events, account logon events. Let's say if we double click on it, and if I want to check the failure events which has been occurred and the success events as well, okay, who has logged into the account, we like to check and audit that. So let me just apply and click on OK. So now Windows account logon events will also be listed in our event viewer. Okay, then we can audit account management, directory services, logon events, object access, policy change, privilege use. So this privilege use could also be accounted. Okay, then you have process tracking system events, and we can audit the logon events as well. If somebody is trying to gain access through network as well. Now, then you have some user rights assignments. Okay, in this user right assignments, you can see that access credential manager as a trusted caller. So what you can do is, in case if you want to allow some accounts to access this credential manager, you can do that. Okay, so you can add a user or a group of user who will be able to access the credential manager. Okay, clear? Credential managers are important and you can understand them as soon as you progress further in security. Then you can access this computer from the network. So you can specify some accounts which can be allowed to access this computer from the network. Okay, and in case if you want to deny access, you can remove them. Clear? So sometimes what happens is, if somebody has gained map network drive access of your computer, you would be able to connect your drives, but using access this computer from the network policy, you can keep your account protected. Okay, you can give permission to one single account, which is your administrator, and whose access you are not giving to anyone. So now let's come to the next point. Act as part of the operating system, add workstations to domain, adjust memory quota for a process. In case if you want to deny memory quotas by a process, you can keep it limited, because sometimes what happens is, let's say a local account is running and somebody hacked your account, and then after hacking the account, he executed something like fork bomb or something in order to start all the processes and in order to overcross the memory quota available, your system will crash at that point. So in case if you deny access to those accounts that they cannot manage or adjust the memory quotas, then the virus programs won't run. Then we can go to the next file. We can allow the logs locally. We can allow logs through RDS, remote desktop services. We can backup files in directories. You can bypass traverse checking. Okay. You can change the system time. You can deny users that those who cannot change the time. You can do that. Change the time zone, page file, token objects, symbolic links. Symlinks, this is one important thing. A lot of hacks on web machines are done using symlinks as well. So what those web hacks are, you can understand them as soon as you progress further in security. Then you can deny logs for batch, and there are a lot of systems and policies which you can configure here. Okay. Then let's go to security policies. And now what you can see is in security options, you can see that administrator account status is disabled. You can manage these. Guest account status is disabled. You can limit local account use of blank passwords to console logon. Okay. Then you can rename administrator account. You can rename guest accounts. So a lot of policies are here. Then you have DCOM, machine access restriction in security description definition language. SSDL is a language using which you can define security. Okay. So all these policies are declared in SSDL language. The name of the SSDL language is security descriptor definition language. Okay. Then you can interact with devices as well. So devices as well. You have to allow, you can allow undock without having to log on. Clear? So there are many policies like this available here. Then you can go with interactive logon configurations. Okay. What is this interactive logon configuration? You can display information when the session is logged. Okay. So you can do that. You cannot display the last username who has accessed. This is something like good. Message text for users attempting to log on and message title for users attempting to log on. So what we can do is we can give a message to a user as soon as he is trying to log into a machine. So what we can do, let's say we are going to set an interactive message. So we can see that we can say we are logging your bad attempts to log on. Okay, let's say I've set a message and I'm setting a message title security bot, let's say something like this. Okay, so we just applied this, and now what we have is we have some interactive logon messages will appear at the logon screen. Okay, so let's say if I try to lock my machine, so at this moment, in case if I just switch the user, so now you can see that as soon as you will log in, you are going to get a message at the starting and he'll say security bot, you are logging your bad attempts to log on. Okay, so it's like a message to a new user that this system is protected and under security. Okay, so let's say if he'll ignore that and then he'll go to the next part and he can type in the details and you'll be able to log in. Is that clear? So you can set these interactive messages using these policies. Now what next you can do, we have the client and server properties can be managed, network policies can be managed, security policies can be managed, and a lot of things can be done. Okay, you can go with cryptography settings, you can go with user account control settings wherein you can set admin approval mode, allow UI access applications, and you can do a lot of stuff. Okay, so you can understand all these policies in detail as soon as you progress further. Then you have Windows firewalls, you have network list manager policies for all the networks which are available at the moment. So let's say if you have a network known as Acqueda 5 at the moment, and in case if you want to change the network icon or something, and if you want to change the network location and permissions, you can do that stuff from here. Okay, so now Then you can go for public key policies, wherein you can specify policies for encrypting file system, for BitLocker device. There is no policy defined at the moment, but as soon as you progress, you can define these policies. Then you have some software restriction policies as well. Okay, so in this Google policy object, we cannot do that, but we can define in the actions menu by clicking the new software restriction policy or something. So we can go to the restriction policy and we can create a new software restriction policy from here. So once we create a new software restriction policy, you can see that we can define security levels, we can define additional rules, we can define enforcement, and we can do a lot of things. So let's say we go into security levels, so we can disallow the software which we don't want to run. So there are many programs which we may feel that they are infected with some virus programs or something, so we can deny running those programs. So everything can be managed from this local computer policy. Okay, so this is like one important file, and next you can proceed with auditing policies in the machine. Okay.